In today's story, a woman screams at a janitor in front of the entire office, calling him worthless, telling him he doesn't belong there. She had no idea who she was really talking to. And what happens when the truth comes out? Let's just say, her whole world comes crashing down. This is a story about respect, about assumptions, and about why you should never ever judge someone by the uniform they're wearing. Stay until the end. The moment she realizes the truth, it'll leave you speechless. It was 6:30 in the morning. The sun was just starting to rise over the city, and the streets were still quiet. Inside the tall glass building of Sterling Corporation, a man pushed a cleaning cart down the empty hallway. His name was Marcus Thompson. He was in his early 40s, average height, kind eyes, and he wore the standard uniform of the building's janitorial staff, a simple gray polo shirt with the company logo and dark blue pants. Marcus moved slowly, carefully. He wiped down the glass doors. He straightened the chairs in the waiting area. He picked up a coffee cup someone had left on a side table the night before. He didn't rush. He paid attention to every detail. To anyone watching, he was just another janitor, someone doing a job most people didn't notice. But if you looked closer, there was something different about him. The way he carried himself, calm, observant, present. He wasn't just cleaning, he was studying. He looked at the framed photos on the walls, awards the company had won, pictures of the executive team at conferences, employees smiling at charity events. He paused in front of one photo, a ribbon-cutting ceremony from 5 years ago. The CEO at the time, a man in his 60s, shaking hands with the mayor. Marcus studied it for a moment. Then he moved on. A woman walked into the building. She was young, maybe 25. Her name was Linda, and she worked at the front desk. "Morning, Marcus," she said with a warm smile. "Morning, Linda," he replied quietly. "You're here early again." "Just like to get a head start," Marcus said. Linda tilted her head. "You know, you're the nicest janitor we've ever had here. Last guy wouldn't even say hello." Marcus smiled. "Well, it's a good place. I like taking care of it." "That's sweet," Linda said. She grabbed her coffee and headed to her desk. Marcus continued down the hall. He passed the conference rooms, the break room, the executive wing. Everything was quiet, peaceful. But in a few hours, that peace would shatter. By 9 a.m., the office was alive. People were walking in with their coffees and laptops. Phones were ringing. Keyboards were clicking. And then she walked in. Victoria Sterling, Director of Marketing. 38 years old. Designer suit. Expensive heels. Hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. She walked like she owned the place. Well, technically, her family did. Her father had founded the company 30 years ago, and even though he'd retired and sold most of his shares, Victoria still acted like every inch of that building belonged to her. She strode through the lobby, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. Linda looked up from the front desk. "Good morning, Miss Sterling." Victoria didn't even glance at her. She headed straight for the elevator, scrolling through her phone. Someone held the elevator door for her. She stepped in without a thank you. The doors closed. On the third floor, Marcus was finishing up in one of the hallways. He'd just mopped the floor near the elevator and had put up a small yellow wet floor sign. He was rolling his cart toward the supply closet when the elevator dinged. The doors opened. Victoria stepped out, head down, still staring at her phone. And then it happened. Her heel hit the wet floor. She slipped, just slightly, but caught herself on the wall. She looked down, saw the damp floor, saw the yellow sign. And then she saw Marcus, standing a few feet away with his mop and cart. Her eyes went cold. "Are you serious right now?" she snapped. Marcus looked up, calm. I'm sorry, ma'am. I just finished mopping this section. The sign is right there. I don't care about the sign, Victoria interrupted. Why are you mopping during business hours? People are trying to work here. I was asked to clean this area first thing in the morning, Marcus said politely. It's in the schedule. Victoria took a step closer. Do you know who I am? Marcus paused. Yes, ma'am. You're Miss Sterling, Director of Marketing. That's right. And I don't appreciate almost breaking my neck because someone doesn't know how to do their job properly. Marcus stayed calm. I apologize if it caused any inconvenience. You'll make sure to stay out of my way. Victoria cut him off. This is a professional environment, not a mop and bucket factory. A few people walking by slowed down, watching. Marcus kept his voice steady. Understood, ma'am. Victoria gave him one last cold look, then turned and walked toward her office. Her assistant, a nervous young woman named Claire, was waiting by the door with a stack of papers. Good morning, Miss Sterling. I have the campaign reports you— Not now, Claire, Victoria snapped. I need coffee. Real coffee. Not that garbage from the break room. Yes, ma'am. Right away. Victoria disappeared into her office and slammed the door. Claire let out a breath and hurried toward the elevator. Marcus stood there for a moment, still holding the mop. Linda, who had come upstairs to drop off some mail, walked over to him. Are you okay? She asked quietly. Marcus nodded. I'm fine. She's always like that, Linda said. Mean to everyone. Don't take it personally. I won't, Marcus said with a small smile. But something in his eyes had changed. He wasn't angry. He was watching. 2 days later. It was a Wednesday afternoon and the office was buzzing with activity. There was a big presentation happening in Conference Room A. The marketing team had been preparing for weeks. Victoria was in charge, of course. She stood at the head of the table, presenting slides to a group of senior managers and a few potential clients. Everything had to be perfect. Meanwhile, Marcus was on the same floor, emptying trash bins and wiping down surfaces near the conference rooms. He moved quietly, as always, invisible to most people. He was just finishing up near the break room when he heard raised voices. He glanced over. It was Victoria. She was standing in the hallway with Claire, who looked like she was about to cry. I don't care what the printer issue is, Victoria was saying, her voice sharp. I need those handouts in 5 minutes. 5, not 10, not 15, 5. I'm trying, Miss Sterling, but the file won't. Then fix it, Victoria snapped, or find someone who can. I'm not going into that meeting without printed materials, do you understand? Claire nodded quickly, tears forming in her eyes. Yes, ma'am. Victoria turned on her heel and walked back toward the conference room. Claire stood there, frozen, trying not to cry in the middle of the office. Marcus watched for a moment. Then he quietly walked over. Hey, he said gently. You okay? Claire wiped her eyes quickly. Yeah, I'm fine, just having a rough day. Printer trouble? She nodded. The file won't open, and she needs 50 copies in 5 minutes. I don't know what to do. Marcus thought for a second. Where's the file? On my laptop, but it keeps crashing. Can I take a look? Claire hesitated. You know how to fix computer stuff? A little, Marcus said. Claire led him to her desk. She opened her laptop and showed him the error message. Marcus leaned in, clicked a few things, and within 30 seconds, the file opened. There you go, he said. Should print fine now. Claire's eyes went wide. Oh my God, thank you so much. No problem, Marcus said. Good luck. He turned to leave. But as he did, Victoria's voice cut through the air like a knife. What is he doing at your desk? Claire froze. Victoria was standing in the doorway of the conference room, arms crossed, glaring at them. He was just helping me with the printer, Claire stammered. Helping you? Victoria repeated, her voice dripping with disbelief. She walked closer. So now we're letting janitors play IT support? Marcus stayed calm. She was having trouble with a file. I don't remember asking you, Victoria interrupted. She turned to Claire. Did you ask him for help? No, ma'am, So he was hovering around your desk, Victoria said, wasting your time and my time. I was just trying to help, Marcus said quietly. Victoria turned to him, eyes cold. Let me make something very clear. You are here to clean. That's it. You're not here to socialize. You're not here to play tech support. You're here to empty trash and mop floors. Do you understand? People were starting to gather. A few employees slowed down in the hallway, watching. Marcus didn't flinch. I understand, ma'am. Good, Victoria said, because frankly, I don't know why someone like you is even walking around during business hours. You should be doing your job at night, when you're not in the way. The words hung in the air. A few people exchanged uncomfortable glances. Claire looked down at the floor, mortified. Marcus stood there, calm, still, but you could see it in his eyes. He wasn't backing down. Noted, he said simply. Victoria gave him one last look of disgust, then turned to Claire. Get those copies printed, now. Yes, ma'am. Victoria walked back into the conference room and closed the door. The hallway was silent. Then, slowly, people started moving again. One of the senior analysts, a man named David, walked over to Marcus. Man, I'm sorry, he said quietly. She's brutal. It's all right, Marcus said. No, seriously. That was out of line. Marcus just nodded, then pushed his cart toward the elevator. But as he walked away, David noticed something. Marcus didn't look defeated. He looked patient, like he was waiting for something. The next morning, Marcus arrived at 6 a.m., like always. The building was quiet, peaceful. He went through his usual routine, wiping down surfaces, checking the break rooms, making sure everything was in order. As he passed the main lobby, he noticed something. Linda was sitting at her desk with her head in her hands. Marcus slowed down. Linda? He called out gently. She looked up, and he could see she'd been crying. Hey, she said, quickly wiping her eyes. Sorry, I'm fine. You don't look fine, Marcus said. He pushed his cart to the side and walked over. What's going on? Linda hesitated. Then she let out a shaky breath. My mom's in the hospital, she said. She had a fall yesterday, broke her hip, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Her insurance only covers part of it, and I don't have that kind of money. Marcus's expression softened. I'm so sorry. Linda nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know I shouldn't be talking about this at work. I don't know what to do. Marcus pulled up a chair and sat down across from her. How much do you need? He asked quietly. Linda shook her head. It's like $8,000. I've been looking into loans, but... She trailed off. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, What if I could help? Linda looked up, confused. What? I know a few people, Marcus said carefully. Let me make some calls, see what I can do. Marcus, you don't have to. I want to, he said. No one should have to go through that alone. Linda stared at him, stunned. You'd really do that? Of course. She started crying again, but this time out of relief. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you so much. Marcus gave her a small smile. It's going to be okay. He stood up and gently squeezed her shoulder, then went back to his cart. As he walked away, Linda watched him, completely baffled. Who was this man? Later that afternoon, Marcus was in the executive wing, replacing trash liners in the offices. Most of the executives were in meetings, so the floor was quiet. He was just finishing up in one of the empty offices when he heard voices. He glanced out into the hallway. It was Victoria and another senior manager, a man named Greg from finance. They were standing near the elevator, talking in low voices. "I'm telling you, Greg, the budget projections don't make sense," Victoria was saying. "I know, but the board approved them," Greg said. "We don't really have a choice." "We do if someone actually challenges it," Victoria said. "But everyone's too scared to say anything because they think the new CEO is going to walk in and clean house." Marcus's ears perked up. "Have you met him yet?" Greg asked. "No, no one has. He's supposedly doing some kind of undercover evaluation before his official start date. It's ridiculous if you ask me. Maybe he just wants to see how things really work. Or maybe he's just paranoid," Victoria said. "Either way, I'm not worried. I've been here longer than anyone else on the management team. He'd be an idiot to touch me." Greg didn't respond. Victoria checked her phone. "Anyway, I have a meeting. See you later." She walked off. Greg stood there for a moment, looking uncomfortable. Then he noticed Marcus standing near the office door. "Oh, hey," Greg said awkwardly. "Afternoon," Marcus said politely. Greg nodded and quickly walked toward his office. Marcus went back to his cart, his expression unreadable. The next day. It was Friday, and the office was quieter than usual. A lot of people had taken the day off, or were working remotely. Marcus was finishing his rounds on the second floor when he ran into David, the senior analyst who had defended him a few days earlier. "Hey, Marcus," David said. "Got a second?" "Sure." David lowered his voice. "Look, I don't know if this is out of line, but I've been thinking about what happened with Victoria." Marcus waited. "She's always been like that," David continued, "but it's gotten worse. And honestly, a lot of us are getting tired of it. She treats people like they're disposable." Marcus nodded slowly. "I've noticed." David hesitated. "The thing is, there's been talk about the new CEO. Apparently, he's really big on company culture and respect. Some people think he might actually make changes." "That would be good," Marcus said carefully. "Yeah, I don't know. I hope he's not all talk, you know? We need someone who actually cares." Marcus looked at him for a moment. Then he said, "I think he does." David blinked. "You know him?" Marcus smiled slightly. "You could say that." David looked confused. "Wait, what do you—" But before he could finish, Marcus's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then looked back at David. "I have to take this. But hey, good luck with everything." Yeah, thanks." Marcus walked away, leaving David standing there, puzzled. Monday morning. 8 a.m., an email went out to the entire company. Subject, all staff meeting, 10 a.m., main conference room, attendance mandatory. Everyone was talking about it. "Is this about the new CEO? I heard he's finally starting today. I wonder what he's like." Victoria, of course, didn't seem concerned. She walked into the office at 9:30, coffee in hand, acting like it was just another day. "Claire, is my presentation ready for the staff meeting?" she asked. You're not presenting, Miss Sterling," Claire said nervously. "It's the CEO's introduction." Victoria waved her hand dismissively. "Right. Well, make sure I have a seat near the front." At 9:55, people started filing into the main conference room. It was packed. Every chair was taken. People were standing along the walls. Victoria sat in the second row, scrolling through her phone. Linda was near the back, looking nervous. David and Greg stood near the side, whispering to each other. At 10 o'clock exactly, the door to the conference room opened. The company's chief operating officer, A woman named Margaret Hayes walked in. Everyone went quiet. "Good morning, everyone," Margaret said. "Thank you for being here. As you all know, today is a big day for Sterling Corporation. We have a new CEO joining us, and he's been looking forward to meeting all of you." Once she paused, smiling. "Now, I know there have been some questions about why he hasn't been around the office yet. The truth is, he has been." A few people exchanged confused glances. Margaret continued, "Our new CEO believes that the best way to understand a company is to see it from every level. So, for the past 2 weeks, he's been working here undercover." A murmur went through the room. Victoria looked up from her phone, suddenly paying attention. "And now," Margaret said, "I'd like to introduce him officially." She stepped aside. The door opened. Marcus Thompson walked in. But he wasn't wearing the gray janitor uniform. He was wearing a sharp navy suit, a crisp white shirt, and a burgundy tie. His posture was different, confident, commanding. The room went completely silent. People stared. Linda's mouth fell open. David's eyes went wide. And Victoria? Victoria went pale. Marcus walked to the front of the room, shook hands with Margaret, and turned to face the staff. "Good morning," he said, his voice calm but strong. "My name is Marcus Thompson, and yes, for the past 2 weeks I've been working as a janitor in this building." He let that sink in. "I wanted to see how this company really operates, not through reports or presentations, but through the day-to-day reality of the people who work here." He paused. "And I've learned a lot." Victoria was frozen in her seat, her face bright red. Marcus continued, "I've seen people who work incredibly hard, who care about their jobs, who treat each other with respect." He looked around the room. "And I've also seen people who don't." His eyes landed on Victoria for just a moment. Then he moved on. "Sterling Corporation has a lot of potential, but if we're going to grow, we need to build a culture based on respect, integrity, and fairness. Not hierarchy, not fear." He smiled slightly. "So here's what's going to happen. Over the next few weeks, I'll be meeting with each department to discuss how we can improve. I want to hear from all of you. What's working, what's not, and what you need to do your jobs well." He looked directly at Linda. "I also want to make sure we're taking care of our people. That includes better benefits, mental health support, and emergency assistance programs." Linda's eyes filled with tears. Marcus continued, "But most importantly, I want everyone here to know that no matter what your job title is, you matter. You have value, and you deserve to be treated with dignity." He let the words hang in the air. "Thank you for being here today. Let's build something great together." The room erupted in applause. People stood up. Linda was crying. David was grinning. And Victoria? Victoria was still sitting, staring straight ahead, her hands shaking. After the meeting, people were buzzing with energy. "Did you see that? He was the janitor the whole time. I can't believe it." Victoria slipped out of the conference room as quickly as she could. She went straight to her office and closed the door. Her hands were shaking. She couldn't believe what had just happened. The janitor, the man she had yelled at, belittled, told to stay out of her way, was the CEO. There was a knock on her door. "Come in," she said, her voice tight. The door opened. It was Marcus. Victoria stood up immediately. "Mr. Thompson, Sit down, please," Marcus said calmly. She sat. Marcus closed the door and pulled up a chair across from her. "I think we need to talk," he said. Victoria swallowed hard. I want to apologize for the way I spoke to you. I didn't know." "That I was the CEO?" Marcus finished. She nodded. Marcus leaned back. "So if I hadn't been the CEO, would you have treated me differently?" Victoria opened her mouth, then closed it. "That's the problem, Victoria," Marcus said quietly. "It shouldn't matter who I am. You shouldn't need a title or a corner office to treat people with respect. I know. I've been under a lot of stress. So has everyone else, Marcus interrupted gently. Linda at the front desk is dealing with a family emergency. Claire is juggling impossible deadlines. David is working 60-hour weeks to meet your demands. And they all manage to be kind. Victoria looked down. I'm not here to humiliate you, Marcus said, but I am here to make changes. And one of those changes is creating a workplace where people feel valued. Not afraid. He paused. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take a 2-week leave. Paid. Use that time to think about the kind of leader you want to be. When you come back, we'll sit down and talk about your role going forward. Victoria looked up, her eyes wide. You're not firing me? Not yet, Marcus said. But I need to see real change, not just apologies. Real, consistent change in how you treat people. Victoria nodded slowly. I understand. Marcus stood up. Good. I'll see you in 2 weeks. He walked to the door, then paused. And Victoria? Yes? That janitor you yelled at? The one you said didn't belong here? He looked at her. He's going to be the one deciding, if you still do. He left. Victoria sat there, stunned. 2 months later. Sterling Corporation looked different. Not the building, not the offices, but the people. They smiled more. They helped each other. They spoke up. Marcus had kept his promise. He met with every department, listened to concerns, made changes. And Victoria? She came back after her 2 weeks, and to everyone's surprise, she was different, quieter, more thoughtful. She started saying, thank you. She stopped yelling. She even apologized to Claire in front of the entire marketing team. It wasn't perfect. Old habits die hard. But it was progress. As for Linda, the emergency assistance program Marcus created covered her mother's medical bills. She cried in his office for 10 minutes straight when he told her. I'll never forget what you did, she said. Marcus just smiled. You don't have to. Just pay it forward. And that's the thing about respect. It's not about titles. It's not about money or power or corner offices. It's about seeing people, really seeing them. Because you never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. And you never know who's wearing the uniform. The CEO of Sterling Corporation learned that lesson. The hard way. Never judge someone by the job they do. Because the person you overlook today might be the one making decisions about your tomorrow. Respect isn't given because of a title. It's given because everyone deserves it.